Hello, this is wmpyr. Okay, so I received a comment or a request video, and this person, it was in Japanese from Japan. They asked me about Sikaran, and they said, could you please make a video on that? And yeah, so I have to tell you that I don't have any experience with Sikaran. So first of all, what is it? Well, it is a Filipino martial arts style, and it primarily seems to center upon kicking. And they have their own sport tournament with their own rules, where primarily you're going to be kicking, and the arms are only used like for defense and stuff like that. You could look up this information. You could read about it on Wikipedia, and you could also find info on it on YouTube. There are people, Sikaran people, posting videos and stuff, so you could check it out for yourself. From what I've seen, it kind of looks like karate. It kind of looks like basic taekwondo. Yeah, so that's what it looked like to me. Now, personally, like I said, I have never heard of it before, and I had never practiced it. I don't have any experience with it. Um, I started off with arnis. That was the first style, and that was the Remy Presas branch of arnis. And then from there, I cross-trained with people that did Kali and Eskrima. So, it's pretty much the same thing. And when I trained with people, it was maybe some people preferred the knife, or some people preferred single stick. Others like the double stick. Other people like to fight in close range. Other people preferred long range. But they were generally, to me, it felt like whether it was Arnis, Kali, or Eskrima, it was the same art, just different expressions of it. But back in the 90s, I remember watching videos from world famous Jeet Kune Do instructor Paul Vunak, and in it, he mentions Filipino arts, and he mentions, other than the stick fighting stuff, he talks about uh, the dirty boxing, panantukan, and then he also mentions pananjakman, which is my understanding is kicking, and then also kinamutai, which is supposed to be like attacking the eyes and biting and stuff like that, real dirty stuff. And then he also mentions dumag, which is Filipino wrestling. So he mentions multiple Filipino styles, and I don't recall Sikaran ever being mentioned. But from my understanding, the ones that I just mentioned are that's what I remember hearing. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, so other than Kali, Eskrima, and Arnis, there is like a boxing style, like for the street, and there's a kicking style, once again, for the street, and then there's a wrestling style, and then there's one that just concentrates on nasty moves. So I was like, I am missing that stuff. I definitely, from the Filipino martial arts curriculum, I have the stick fighting and the knife fighting and the Kali, Eskrima, Arnis, but I'm missing the other stuff that Paul Vonak had mentioned there. So I was like, okay, but there are no schools in my area. What can I do? And it wasn't like today, where the internet you can find all this information easily. Back then, it was like you either trained from video, or you had to fly out there, or if you're lucky, you knew someone who had trained in something like that. But other than that, I mean, it was good luck. So I said to myself, well, look, I'm not going to find Filipino dirty boxing, panantukuman, here in Texas. So I was like, but it's boxing, right? It's boxing with Filipino martial arts theory in there. So I was like, well, then let me learn how to box. That's what I need to do, and I need to make my hands good. So I figure, as long as I learned boxing and I kept doing the Filipino martial arts, and then later learn as much boxing as I can, combine it with the Filipino martial arts theory, then I'm good to go. That should be good enough. And whatever comes out of that, then I should be able to hold my own against a Panantukan guy. So the same with pananjakman. It's kicking. At the end of the day, it's about kicking. So let me train in taekwondo. Let me train in Muay Thai kickboxing. Let me train in savat. And those three I did, and I got some kicking in my arsenal. And I was like, and now let me put the Filipino martial arts theory on that, and that should be good enough. That should cover enough basis that I could hold my own against someone that does pananjakman. And same with the wrestling. And then as for the wrestling, I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a little bit of Sambo, a tiny bit of Olympic style wrestling, which is the freestyle and the Greco-Roman, so amateur wrestling. And I studied catch wrestling on my own. So, I was like, that should be enough. That should be enough to handle someone that comes from a Dumog background. And then also, like for the dirty moves, the kinamutai, I was studying the military styles and the self-defense styles and see what they had to say as far as like biting, eye gouging, attacking the groin, basically no rules type stuff that you cannot do in sport, but they kind of focus on it. And I also kind of went an interesting route was I looked up the sports of the day, even the early UFCs, and I looked up all the rules and what was banned. So fish hooking, okay, fish hooking is banned. Why? What is fish hooking? So then I researched that. Attacks to the spine, that's illegal. All right, so what's up with that? Let me look that up. What kind of techniques can I do to attack the spine? In sumo wrestling, there were some techniques that were illegal. One of them is called saba ori, and it's a bear hug, but it's a kind of a very specific kind of bear hug where you use leverage using the ground and the angle that you could literally break someone's back because it's really the leverage and the angle that does that. So that's the kind of stuff that I looked up so that if I go up against someone that specializes in eye gouging and biting, that I won't be totally lost. And that was my method because, like I said, in Texas at the time, I'm not going to find those schools, those very specific schools, or like a Sikaran school. I'm not going to find that where I was at. So I improvised. That's what I did essentially, and now it's been many, many years, and I feel fine with it, and I'm cool that it's not exactly what it is, but that's okay. That's completely fine by me. So that is the approach that I took, and I just want to honestly tell you guys, and for other people, you could do the same thing, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You just, you study the best that you can with what's available to you, and you put your heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears, and there's nothing to hide then. That's good enough in my opinion. I'm not saying you're going to be better or you're going to win. I'm not saying those things, but that should be fine. So that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.